be a sponge, and then bring the juice.
By focusing on your improvement, by focusing on your progress, and eliminating any fixed mindset that you may have and acts of perfectionism, then you encourage your own mastery.
On some level, we do what we want to do 24 hours a day. Now, sometimes it may not seem like that, but if I'm choosing to work instead of sleep, what I'm actually saying is keeping my job is more important than sleeping.
I'm tired of this. I'm tired of getting beat. What can I do to get over this hump? So mentally, that's when I kind of put that forefront, like, hey, it's either all or nothing.
I like to put failure in quotations because I don't believe that failure is true failure if you're looking at it with the right mindset.
The truth is, the journey to greatness is hard. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes focus, and every day you have to decide what you value, what you want to pursue, and what you want to achieve. And if you dig deep enough, if you push hard enough, we all have what it takes to be great. Welcome to the Edge of Greatness.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Edge of Greatness podcast. Episode 125 and the last episode of season 6 is here. It's been quite a season. You know, we started with episode 101 and Satoyo and his comedy adventure into Philadelphia, and he said some serious stories and some high bar for the season. But I feel like we got some pretty awesome guests. I mean, we had Trevor Reagan, Andrew Tarvin, Logan Broadbent, caught back up with Kate Lavelle and Joe Ferraro, and then we finished the season strong with some new superstars. Nicole Erickson, Coach AB, Fearless Fast Pitch, Robbie Britt, and Isaac Wilkins. I mean, there was a lot of fun. There were some really good guests, some awesome stories, some incredible lessons. And I hope that if you tuned in through all of this, that you gained something as much as I did, because I feel like every time I go through these conversations, I pick up a little nugget. I find something new that I can tap into and grow from. And it's just been an incredible journey, and that's part of where we're at now. So the end of season 6, we're at a point where, for me personally, things are about to change pretty dramatically at the end of this week. For those of you who have been following along, you probably already know, Baby Schultz number 3 is due 11/11/22, so that's this coming Friday, and three kids, 4 years and younger, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for myself. But it's also going to be a big change, and I'm excited for it. I think that this is going to be a cool test to what it takes to be great, not only in business, but in life and with your family, and to do all of those things. So there's going to be some times where I'll probably be a little bit tired and a little groggy. That's okay. That's part of the job. It is my plan to continue to do the From the Edge episodes to keep you guys updated on my journey into excellence and greatness and what I'm doing and what I'm working on. But there's going to probably be a few weeks, especially early on, over the next few weeks, where I'm gonna replay some old episodes. I think this is a cool way to get some information out to some of my new listeners. If you're a first time listener, you get a chance to not have to go back and look through all 125 episodes to find something you like. It's also a chance to, for me to take a little bit of a break, but keep the content rolling for you, because sometimes I think it's important to re-listen to some of these conversations. There's usually a little golden nugget in there that maybe we missed the first time. So that's going to be kind of where I'm at. That's what I'm doing. But as we think about change, and we talk about change, I'm curious, what goes through your mind when you hear those words, when you hear change? Because I think a lot of people, honestly, I think most people don't like change. Most people try to avoid change. They hold on to things longer than they have to, or longer than they should, because change is scary. And I think sometimes we do this to the point where it's detrimental to our current situation. We We hang on to a job that we don't really like because we're afraid of what's out there. We stay in a relationship that's not very good because we're afraid of the change that's going to come when we say goodbye. But the truth is, change is an inevitable part of life. As much as we want to avoid it and we don't want to change, we can't. We can't stop it. Change is coming. It reminds us every day when we have another birthday that we're getting older, right? That's change. You can't stop time. You can't stop change. It's something that we need to embrace. Everyone out there, everyone who's listening to this will face change of some kind. Some change is good, some change is hard. No change, in my opinion, is bad, because I think that how we view the changes that are happening around us dictate what we get from those changes. So I think that's an important piece to understand, is that there are harder changes than others. There are changes that are unfortunate. When we lose a loved one, that's not a good change. It's a hard change. But it's not a change that's it's not bad for us. It's hard for us. The lessons we still learn from those hard changes are valuable. And it's not easy to do. It's not easy to deal with. But it's something that we can all get better from. Obviously we don't want those really hard changes, but some of the challenging changes in our life open the biggest and best doors. So I'm going to give you 2 examples. So there's a business owner, and his business is being forced to close. He's at a point where, he just can't handle the payments, the costs, the employees, everything's just too much. And the main business is going to shut down. But they can't handle the change. They've worked way too hard to build the business, and it's all they know, and they can't lose it. So they fight the closure. They deny that it's happening. They get lost in the fact that the change is coming. There's already been a notice. It's already been delivered. The doors are going to close for the last time and not open again. But for whatever reason, we fight that change. We don't start looking for new opportunities. We just hold on to it. And so then when the business does close and it doesn't open the next day, they haven't made any adjustments in their life. They have no plan, know what to do next. They're just floating, lost in the sea of possibilities. Something I've talked about a lot over the last year. But this lost feeling doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to be that way. The change is coming. So embrace it, accept it, do something with it. A second business owner has the same news, finds out that the business is closing. And from the moment that he finds out that the doors are going to be shut and they're no longer going to open, he accepts the change. He starts looking for pivot points in his business, ways to continue to run the business without the storefront. And because he's open to the change, because he's looking for these opportunities, because he's aware that the change is inevitable, he realizes that people have been coming to him not for the store, but for his products, for what he provides people. So he shifts his business model and he starts to run it from his home. And he creates products from his garage, and he finds ways to ship them directly to the customer. And he keeps all of his clients and all of the people he's been working with over the last few years. And now he's reduced his overhead because he doesn't have a building to pay for anymore. He doesn't have employees. He doesn't have anything else to worry about except for building a product and delivering it to his clients. And because of this, he hits the ground running. He starts to make money. He finds himself in a place where now he can bring back some of his employees because he needs some help. Now, I get both of these examples are hypothetical, but I've seen them both play out 1,000 times. The person who gets told that something's about to happen and they deny it and they hold on to where they're at, or the person who's in a bad situation, like I mentioned before, a bad job, and they hold on to it instead of looking for a pivot point, instead of looking for an opportunity, instead of trying to find something different and accepting change as part of this process. It's hard, it's challenging, but the older I get, the more change I experience, the more I find opportunities in all of it. And I think it's a valuable thing to learn. It's a valuable lesson to be gained. And, it's definitely something we need to continue to develop. We are often a victim of the way we perceive a situation. If we think change is bad, it likely will be. If we think change is hard, it likely will be. Now, again, like I said before, there are definitely things that are harder and more negative than others. But if we flip the way we see change and we view change as good, it likely will be. If we think change is an opportunity, we'll probably find one. One of the things I've learned during 124 episodes of this podcast is that how we choose to see the world and what we see around us will ultimately dictate the opportunities we find in every situation. Our mind and our mindset are our most powerful tools. Choose to see the world and choose to see the changes in your life as opportunities and doors to new adventures, not punishments or unfair circumstances. If we do that, I believe you'll find great things and greatness all around you. So with all this change talk in mind, I want to make sure I continue to work down some of these things that are happening with me. You may notice some changes with myself. So the next few weeks, I'm going to post, like I said earlier, probably some replay episodes to give me time with the new baby. I'm going to keep, like I said before, again, I'm going to keep the edge stuff going. I want to give you guys updates. I want to let you know what's happening. I don't want to completely stop the fresh content when it comes to the podcast. But you'll also notice that I'm going to start to promote. I got a new book coming out in December. It's available for pre-sale now. I'm also shifting my focus a little bit as part of the change from solely gathering content with these conversations to sharing and creating courses and PDFs and different things that'll give you a deeper insight into what I've learned. I think that's a big part of my next step. The content creation is great, but my passion and love for greatness is through teaching it to others. So that's the direction I want to go. The books were part one of that, as a way to teach what I've learned. But now I want to get into more interactive things. I want to get to more opportunities to work with people individually. I want to get to different ways to focus that teaching on specific topics. So keep your eyes out for that in the near future. I am working on a course currently aimed at helping people discover how to be more productive. I think productivity is a huge part of consistent success, and it's something that I've definitely developed an understanding for through all of these business ventures, all of these conversations, and everything else that I've been doing is how to organize and be productive with my time. Now, obviously with 3 kids, we'll see if I can still master some of those productivity tips or not, but that is the plan. Lastly, I am going to continue the newsletter. That's something I love writing, and I love the newsletter, and it's a fun way for me it was a fun introduction for me to teach greatness. And so I'm going to continue to do that each week. I'll have links for all of the things I just mentioned in the show notes at the bottom. So that way you guys can connect. If you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, please do. It's pretty quick. I only do 3 challenges a week. It comes out today, actually. But they're aimed at helping unlock specific characteristics of greatness and gives you a challenge to try to implement into your own life. So it's not just read this and do nothing. My goal is to try to teach through the newsletter, through the podcast, through the new courses. So if you have anything that you're struggling with or you want to connect with me, please shoot me an email, charles@theedgeofgreatnessproject.com. I'd love to hear from you. I always like connecting with new people. I've actually been doing a lot of connecting with new people on LinkedIn. So if you're over there, look me up. I'm trying my best to stay active on that one. But, as always, guys, keep reaching for the stars. Fall flat on your face. But remember, whenever we fall, always get up.
Thank you for joining us today on the Edge of Greatness podcast. If you haven't yet, please take a minute now to subscribe and review our show. Join us again next week as we continue to dig deeper into the key components of greatness. The path to greatness is never linear, so remember to keep pursuing greatness no matter what. Keep stretching your abilities, reach for the stars, and fall flat on your face. But remember, no matter what happens, whenever we fall, always get up. Until next time, I'm Charles Schultz, and this was the Edge of Greatness podcast.